"If I warm your bed, will you let us remain?" said poor alien mom, and that night everything changed. A knock in the middle of a power-cut storm. Ethan opens the door, and there she is. A poor alien mother, holding her child like the last piece of hope. She whispers the words, exactly like a desperate deal. "If I warm your bed, will you let us remain?" But this isn't romance. It's a survival warning. Because when societies get cold, people trade dignity for shelter, and monsters call it law. Ethan steps back, lets them in, then he notices it. A tiny metal tube in the child's hand, glowing like a signal, and outside, a drone stops above his roof. A voice cracks through the night. "Open the door. We know what you're hiding. Before we go further, welcome to Cosmic Neon Aliens. Now listen, my respected friend, if you're over 50, you already know this world rewards the prepared. So hit subscribe like you're locking your door before a storm, and tell me, where are you watching from? Because the next sound Ethan hears isn't the drone, it's the lock turning from the outside. The storm came early that night, and it came angry. Cold wind hit the metal walls of the colony like fists. Streetlights blinked, then died. The sky above the mining town of Gray Ridge looked like black glass. Ethan Cole walked home with his collar up and his hands deep in his pockets. He lived alone in a small unit at the edge of town. He liked it that way. Less noise, less people, fewer questions. He had just reached his door when he heard it. A knock, not loud, not confident, the kind of knock a person makes when they are afraid to be seen. Ethan paused. He listened. Another knock came, weaker. Like the hand was shaking. He opened the door. Only a little cold air rushed in, and in the thin light from his hallway, he saw her. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue-gray, her eyes too large, her face tired and tight. A long coat hung on her like it belonged to someone bigger. In her arms she held a child wrapped in a torn blanket. The child's face was half hidden, but Ethan saw the small trembling, not just from the cold, from fear. The alien woman did not step forward. She stayed just outside the doorway, like the line between inside and outside was a wall. Her voice was low, rough, as if she had not spoken. "For hours, if I warm your bed, will you let us remain?" she said. Ethan's chest tightened. For a second he did not know what to say. The words sounded wrong, sharp and heavy, but her eyes told a different story. She was not offering comfort. She was offering anything she had left. "No," Ethan said quickly, simple and clear. He shook his head once. "That's not how this works." The woman flinched like she expected a slap. Ethan opened the door wider. "Come in," he said. "Just come in before you freeze." She hesitated. The child made a small sound, almost a cough. Then the woman stepped inside, careful, quiet, like she thought the floor might bite. Ethan shut the door and turned on a small lamp. The power was weak, but it held. He saw the bruises on her hands, the dirt on her sleeves, the dried streaks on her cheek. Her coat was damp, her boots were cracked. He pointed to the chair near the heater. "Sit. I'll get water." The alien woman sat, but she did not relax. She kept her arms tight around the child, like if she let go for even a second, the world would take the child away. Ethan filled a cup with warm water from the dispenser and handed it to her. Her fingers trembled as she took it. She drank slowly, eyes watching him the whole time, not trusting. "Not yet? Name?" Ethan asked, gentle but firm. "Lyra," she said. Then she looked down at the child. "Nia." Nia's eyes opened a little, bright, strange, and focused. Too focused for a child that cold. Ethan moved to his small kitchen and opened a container of soup. He heated it, poured it into a bowl, and brought it over. The smell filled the room, simple and warm. Lyra's shoulders shook, not from cold this time, from the sudden pain of safety, the kind of safety that makes people feel weak because they have been strong too long. Ethan said, placing the bowl on the table. Slowly, Lyra took the spoon, her eyes filled, but she did not cry. She was holding herself together with pure will. Ethan noticed something then. Nia's small hand was gripping a metal tube. It was no bigger than a pen, but it looked expensive. Clean, and not from this town. What is that? Ethan asked. Nia held it closer. Lyra answered quickly. Nothing, just a thing. Ethan did not push, but his eyes stayed on it. For a moment, the metal tube gave off a faint light, a tiny pulse like a heartbeat. Ethan's skin went cold again, not from the storm, from instinct. Outside, a sound rose above the wind. A hum, smooth and mechanical. A drone. Lyra froze. Her spoon stopped halfway to her mouth. Nia's eyes went wide. Ethan moved fast. He turned off the lamp. The room fell into shadow. He pulled the curtain just enough to see out. A search drone hovered above the street. Light sweeping, its beam slid over doors and windows like a knife. Ethan whispered. Stay low, Lyra nodded. Once, she covered Nia's mouth with her hand, not hard, just enough to keep her quiet. The drone's light stopped, right on Ethan's window. Then the drone lowered, closer, closer. A speaker crackled through the storm, and a calm voice filled the street. Citizen of Gray Ridge, it said. Open your door. Ethan did not move. His jaw tightened. The voice continued, colder now. We know you're hiding off-worlders. Lyra's eyes locked on Ethan, a silent plea, a silent apology. Ethan took one slow breath. His mind raced. Hide them, move them, fight, run. Every option felt too small then. The voice said the last part, the part that made Ethan's blood turn to ice. Open now, it said, or we will enter by force. And the lock on Ethan's door clicked from the outside. Asterisk, the lock clicked again, slow and ugly, as if it was thinking. Ethan felt a hard heat rise in his chest. He kept his face calm, but his body was ready. Lyra pulled Nia close, and the child did not cry, not even once. Ethan lifted one finger to his lips. Then he pointed to the small storage room near the back. It was not much, just boxes, old tools, and a folded blanket. But it had one good thing, a loose wall panel behind the shelves. Go, he whispered. Now, Lyra stood fast, like her legs were made of stone. She did not want to move without knowing the plan. Then the drone outside made a sharp beep, like a warning, like a countdown. Lyra moved, silent as smoke. She carried Nia into the storage room. Ethan followed and pushed the shelves aside. The wall panel came loose with a soft pop. Inside, Ethan said. It's tight, but it's hidden. Lyra stepped into the space behind the panel. Nia hugged the metal tube close to her chest. The tube gave a faint glow again. Ethan saw it, and his stomach dropped. He reached out slowly and covered the tube with a cloth from a toolbox. The light became weaker. Do not make a sound, he said. Lyra nodded, eyes wide. She whispered. Only 2 words, thank you. Ethan slid the panel back in place, pulled the shelves forward again. Then he walked to the front door. He turned the lamp on low, just enough to look normal. He opened the door halfway. Cold air cut into his face. A flashlight beam hit his eyes. 3 men stood outside, wearing thick jackets with security patches. Their boots were clean, their gloves new. They looked like people who never got told no. In the middle was the security chief, a tall man with gray hair and a polite smile that did not reach his eyes. His name was Marshal Crane. Everyone in Gray Ridge knew him. Everyone feared him, because he did not shout and he did not rush. He only waited until you broke. Crane tilted his head. Citizen Cole, he said, calm. Stormy night to be awake. Ethan kept his voice steady. My heater is weak. I was checking it. Crane's eyes moved past Ethan, scanning the room, like a hunter looking for breath. Behind him, a guard held a small scanner. The scanner hummed softly. A thin blue line swept over Ethan's doorway. Over the floor, over the walls. We received a report, Crane said. 2 off-worlders entered this street. They are illegal. They are dangerous. Ethan forced a small shrug. This street is empty, he said. Wrong address. Crane smiled, slow, friendly, almost sad. I hope so, he said, because sheltering them is a serious crime. The scanner guard lifted the device. Closer to the doorway, the blue line swept again. Ethan felt his heart hit his ribs. He thought of Lyra and Nia behind that thin panel. One cough, one small movement, and it was over. Crane took one step closer, not pushing, not rushing, just closing space. You live alone, yes? Crane asked. No visitors. Ethan nodded. Just me. Crane looked at Ethan's face like he was reading a book. Then he spoke softly. People do strange things when they feel lonely. Ethan did not answer. He did not blink. Crane lifted a small metal badge. It had a code and a red mark. This is a temporary search order, he said. May I come in? Ethan's brain moved fast. If he refused, Crane would force his way in. If he allowed them in, they might still search. But maybe he could guide the moment, control the room. By seconds, Ethan stepped back. You can look, he said, but you won't find anything. Crane nodded once, pleased. He entered with 2 guards. The drone hovered outside, its light aimed at the door. The scanner hummed louder inside the home. Blue lines swept over furniture, the heater, the kitchen counter. Crane walked slowly, touching nothing. He looked. At the soup bowl on the table, still warm, a second bowl sat beside it. Ethan realized too late he had left it there. Crane stopped. His eyes narrowed, just a little. You eat twice tonight? He asked. Ethan's throat tightened. He forced a dry laugh. I was hungry, he said. Long day. Crane stared at the 2 spoons. Then he looked at Ethan again. The polite smile stayed, but the eyes became colder. One guard moved toward the storage room. He tapped the shelf with his gloved knuckles. Listening, the scanner beeped once, faint. Ethan's hands curled into fists at his sides. He did not move. If he jumped now, they would shoot. If he waited, they would open the panel. Crane raised a hand, stopping the guard. Not because he believed Ethan, but because he wanted to enjoy this. Crane leaned closer to Ethan and whispered, Someone is lying. Ethan held his gaze. Then he heard it. A tiny sound from the back room. Not a voice, not a cough. A soft metal tick. Crane's head turned slightly, like a wolf hearing a bone. Crack, his smile returned, wider than before. Storage room, Crane said. Calm. Open it. Ethan did not move. His mind screamed. His body went cold. Crane's voice lowered to a threat that sounded like advice. Open it yourself, he said, or my men will. And behind Ethan, the hidden metal tube suddenly pulsed brighter under the cloth, as if it had decided the time for silence was over. Ethan's eyes snapped toward the storage room. But his face did not change. He kept his shoulders loose. Like nothing mattered, inside his chest his heart was banging like a warning drum. Marshal Crane stood very still. He was smiling, but it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a man who enjoys fear. Open it, Crane said again, calm and slow. Ethan took one careful breath. Then he scratched the side of his neck, acting bored. Go ahead, he said. It's tools and junk. One guard stepped forward. His scanner made a soft beep. As he moved, he reached for the storage room handle. Ethan suddenly pointed at the ceiling, right above the heater. You smell that? He asked, louder than needed. Burning wire. Crane's eyes flicked upward, just for a second. The guard paused, confused. Ethan used that second. He walked fast to the heater, bent down, and hit the power switch. The heater coughed and sparked. A thin line of smoke rose, small but real. The guard stepped back. Faulty unit, Ethan said, sharp. Old wiring. You want a fire on your report? Crane's smile faded a little. He hated being distracted. He hated losing control even for one breath. Crane nodded to the scanner guard. Check the power box, he said. The scanner guard moved to the wall unit near the kitchen. He opened it, and the lights flickered again. The drone outside hummed lower, as if listening. Ethan knew he had bought only seconds. In the storage room, behind the shelves, Lyra did not move. Her arms were tight around Nia. Nia's face was calm in a strange way, not calm like a brave child, calm like a child who already knew what would happen next. Nia leaned close to her mother's ear and whispered, "They hear metal," she said. "They smell fear." Lyra's eyes widened. She held her breath. The metal tube under the cloth pulsed again. Soft, steady, like a heartbeat that would not stop. Ethan felt the fear rise in him, because he knew any machine could catch that signal. Crane walked toward the storage room again. Slowly, as if he had all night, he put one hand near the handle, not touching it yet, just letting Ethan see what was coming. Ethan stood between Crane and the door, not blocking hard, just standing, like a man who belonged in his own home. Crane tilted his head. "You're sweating," he said. "Only guilty men sweat like that." Ethan forced a short laugh. "It's hot in here," he said. "Your drone is making the power jump." Crane stepped closer until they were face to face. His voice dropped. "Let me help you," he whispered. "Give them up. You keep your job. You keep your home." Ethan felt anger flash in him, quick and bright, but he kept his voice flat. "I don't have anyone," he said. "Now leave." For the first time, Crane's eyes hardened. His polite mask slipped. Just a little. He turned his head toward the guard. "Open it," he ordered. The guard grabbed the handle, and at that exact moment, the town power dropped. Not a flicker, a full cut. Everything went dark. The drone outside stopped humming, then restarted with a sharp whine. The scanner made a high beep like it was dying. In the black, Ethan moved, fast, silent, trained. He grabbed the guard's wrist and twisted just enough to make the scanner fall. It hit the floor and cracked. The guard cursed, blinded by the sudden darkness. Crane's voice cut through the dark. "Lights!" he snapped. Ethan did not wait. He knew this was the only chance he would get. He rushed to the storage room, pulled the shelves aside, and yanked the wall panel open. Lyra was there, pale, shaking. Nia's eyes were wide but focused. "Move," Ethan whispered. "Now." Lyra stepped out with Nia. Ethan shoved the cloth tight around the tube, pressing it against Nia's chest. "Keep it covered," he said. They moved through the kitchen toward the back door. Ethan's home had a narrow service path behind it, leading to the alley. He had used it for trash runs and repairs. Tonight it was an escape route. A flashlight snapped on in the front room. A guard had switched to a hand light. Its beam swung wildly, catching the edge of Ethan's shoulder. "Back door!" the guard shouted. Ethan pushed Lyra and Nia outside. Wind hit them like ice. Snow stung their faces. The alley was dark and tight between metal housing units. They ran, feet slipping on frozen ground, breath loud in their ears behind them. The front door slammed open, and boots hit the steps. A siren started far down the street. Short, sharp bursts, like a hunting call. Lyra looked at Ethan while running. Her voice broke. "I did not want to come," she said. "They told me to say those words." Ethan did not slow down. "Who told you?" he asked. Lyra swallowed hard. "Men who sell passage," she said. "They said humans only help if they think they gain something." Ethan's jaw tightened. He wanted to say something, but he kept moving. The alley opened into a wider service road where old storage sheds sat in rows. At the end of the road was a small garage with a faded sign. Ethan knocked fast, 3 times. Then twice. A code. The door opened just enough for a face to appear. A man in greasy work clothes, eyes suspicious. He was older than Ethan, with tired lines and sharp hands. His name was Bram, a mechanic, one of the few people Ethan still trusted. Bram's eyes took in Lyra and the child, then the cloth-wrapped tube, then Ethan's face. "What did you bring to my door?" Bram whispered. Ethan pushed them inside. "Help," he said. "Just for a night." Bram locked the door fast. He looked at Lyra again, really looked. His face changed, like he had seen a ghost. He stepped back slowly and lowered his voice to a rough whisper. "That species," he said. "They don't come here by accident." Ethan frowned. What are you talking about? Bram's eyes moved to Nia, then to the tube under the cloth. His voice shook, not from fear, but from understanding. This is not a refugee. Bram said, this is a target. And outside the garage, the siren sound stopped, as if the hunters had found the right street. Bram's garage smelled like oil, metal, and old smoke. The walls were lined with tools, broken machines, and spare parts. A small heater hummed in the corner, weak but alive. Ethan kept Lyra and Nia behind a tall shelf of tires. He stood in front of them like a wall. Bram shut the garage door and locked it with 2 heavy bars. For a moment, the storm outside was the only sound. Then Bram spoke again, quieter. That species does not beg like that, Bram said. They do not just run. They are hunted. Lyra's face tightened. She looked down, ashamed. Like her body remembered too many bad rooms. Nia stayed close to her mother, still holding the metal tube under the cloth. Her fingers gripped it like it was a lifeline. Ethan lowered his voice. You know who she is? He asked. Bram did not answer right away. He walked to his workbench and pulled open a drawer. Inside were old papers, a cracked data pad, and a small radio unit. He touched the radio like it was dangerous. Years ago, Bram said, I fixed a transport ship. Crew told stories about a lab program, about children taken. Lyra looked up fast. Her eyes were wide and hard now, not weak, not soft, just tired and ready to fight. We ran, Lyra said. That is all. Ethan leaned closer. Why is the child wanted? He asked, what is that tube? Lyra's lips trembled, but she forced the words out. It holds proof, she said. It shows what they did. If it reaches the right signal, they fall. Ethan's stomach dropped. This was bigger than a cold night and a kind choice. This was war hidden inside a small home. A truth people kill for. Bram rubbed his face with one hand. His voice went low. You do not understand this town, he said. They pay for info. Small people like me cannot refuse. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Who pays? He asked. Bram looked away. Networks, he said. Bounty boards. Private security. Sometimes the law itself. Ethan stepped closer to Bram. Are you saying you already told someone? He asked, flat and sharp. Bram lifted both hands. No, he said quickly. Not yet. I am just thinking. Ethan did not like that word. Thinking. Thinking was how fear became betrayal. Outside, wind pushed snow against the door. Then, faintly, the sound of engines. Not the drone this time, bigger. Nia's head turned like a small animal. Hearing danger, she whispered. They are close. Ethan felt his blood turn cold. How? He asked. We just got here. Lyra's eyes flicked to Bram's radio. Her voice was thin. Did you send something? She asked. Bram's jaw worked. He did not answer. That silence was an answer. Ethan moved fast. He grabbed Bram's wrist and yanked it up. Bram winced. A small device fell from Bram's sleeve and hit the floor. A thin black chip, blinking green. Ethan stared at it. A tracker ping. Short range, fast. You lied, Ethan said low. Bram pulled his arm back, angry and scared. I have debts, he snapped. I have a family. They said they would ruin me. They said I could be safe if I helped. Ethan's eyes burned. You just signed your own death, he said. Because they don't leave witnesses. Bram froze. For the first time he seemed to understand. His face went pale. The engines outside grew louder. Footsteps hit snow, heavy and many. Ethan turned to Lyra. We're moving, he said. Now. He grabbed a long coat from a hook and threw it to Lyra. She put it on fast. Nia stayed close, clutching the tube. Bram's voice cracked. Wait, he said. I can fix this. I can talk. Ethan cut him off. No time. He pulled open a side door that led into a narrow corridor behind the garage. It was full of old crates and scrap. At the end was a hatch that opened into the drainage channel under the street. Ethan had used it once, years ago, when the town flooded. Through there, Ethan said. Lyra moved first. Careful but quick, Nia followed, small feet stepping over cold metal. Behind them, the main garage door shook. A voice called from outside. Loud and sure. "Bram," the voice said. "Open up." Bram's whole body trembled. He looked at Ethan like a man begging for forgiveness. But Ethan's face was hard. The garage door rattled again. Then came a sharp sound. A cutting tool biting into metal. Ethan pushed Lyra and Nia down into the drainage channel. Cold air rushed up from below, wet and dirty. He jumped down after them and pulled the hatch halfway closed, but before it shut, a bright light blasted through the cracks, and a voice said something that made Ethan's stomach drop. "We have the human too," the voice said. "Calm. Take them all." Ethan turned his head to look through the crack, and for 1 second, he saw boots, dark armor, and a patch he had never seen in Grey Ridge. Not town security, not colony law. A private bounty team. The hatch slammed shut. Ethan held it with both hands, breathing hard. Lyra hugged Nia close in the dark, and the metal tube under the cloth began to pulse again. Faster now, like it was waking up. Then, from somewhere deeper in the drainage tunnel, a new sound answered, a low mechanical hum, closer than it should be, as if something else was already down there with them. The drainage tunnel was colder than the storm above. Water ran in thin lines along the concrete, and the air smelled of rust. Ethan moved carefully, one hand on the wall, the other guiding Lyra. Nia stayed close, silent, like she was listening to things the others could not hear. Behind them, the hatch shook once, then twice. Metal groaned as the bounty team tried to force it open. Their voices were muffled, but the anger was clear. "They're not far," Ethan whispered. Lyra nodded, breathing hard. Her hair was damp, stuck to her face. She looked less like a stranger now and more like a person who had been running for days. They reached a wider part of the tunnel where old pipes crossed overhead. A faint red light blinked on one wall, like an emergency marker. Ethan stopped and listened. The hum they heard earlier came again. Deeper, steady, not a drone, not a scanner. Something heavier. Nia tilted her head, eyes wide. "They brought the crawler," she whispered. "They use it for holes." Ethan did not like that word, holes. He pictured a machine that did not stop until it found what it wanted. He pushed them forward. "Keep moving," he said, after a few minutes. The tunnel opened into a small maintenance room. There were 2 exits, one ladder going up to a street hatch, and one long corridor leading toward the cum district. Ethan's mind ran fast. If they went up, they might walk into the team. If they went forward, they had more distance, but also more exposure. He chose forward. They moved into the corridor, and the hum followed. Slow and patient, like a predator that did not need to hurry. Lyra finally spoke, voice tight. "You should leave us," she said. "They will ruin you." Ethan looked at her. His eyes were hard but not cruel. "I already chose," he said. "If I stop now, they still come for me." Lyra swallowed. Her shoulders shook. For a moment she looked like she might fall. Then she stood taller, like she forced strength back into her bones. "You don't know what you are holding," she said. Ethan glanced at the cloth-wrapped tube in Nia's hands. "I know it's trouble," he said. "And it's important." Lyra's voice dropped, almost like a confession. "It is proof," she said. "Not just against this town. Against people with ships. People with money. People who own laws." Ethan kept walking, but his face changed. He had seen that kind of power before. The kind that called itself order while it crushed anyone in the way. Lyra continued, words coming faster now. "I worked near them," she said. "I was not a soldier. I was a translator. They brought children from many worlds. They told the parents it was medicine. They said it was education. But it was a program." Nia's grip tightened. Her eyes went down, like she knew the story already but still hated hearing it. Ethan's jaw clenched. "What did they do to her?" he asked, voice low. Lyra's lips trembled. "They tested," she whispered. "They searched for a trait, a way to connect minds to machines, a way to make soldiers obey." Pilots who never refuse. Ethan stopped walking. The cold in the corridor felt sharper. He looked at Nia with new eyes, not just as a child, but as a key. Nia looked back at him, calm and sad at the same time. "They want what's inside me," she said softly. "And what's inside the tube?" Ethan swallowed. "What's inside the tube?" he asked. Lyra took a shaky breath. "Records," she said. "Names. Locations. Orders signed. If it reaches the right network, it cannot be erased." Ethan understood then. This was not about one bounty. This was about stopping a secret that should never exist. And that meant the hunters would not stop. A sound echoed behind them, a grinding scrape, the crawler, cutting through another barrier, getting closer. Ethan pushed them forward again. They reached a junction where the corridor split. A sign on the wall pointed toward the Cum Tower district. Ethan's eyes lit with a plan. "If we reach the Cum Tower," he said, "we can send it." Lyra's face turned pale. "They will kill everyone to stop it," she said. Ethan nodded once. "Then we do it fast." He replied. They ran. Boots hit metal behind them. The bounty team had found another way in. Their lights flashed down the corridor like white knives. A voice shouted, "Stop!" On the ground. Ethan turned a corner and pulled Lyra and Nia into a small side room. He shut the door gently. They pressed against the wall. Holding breath, the lights passed, then stopped, right outside the door. Someone sniffed the air like a dog. A scanner beeped, soft at first, then faster. Ethan realized the tube was pulsing again under the cloth. It was calling, or answering. He pressed his hand over it, trying to block the signal. Too late. The door slammed open. 2 armored men rushed in, weapons raised. Ethan lunged, trying to push them back. He struck one in the chest and grabbed the other's wrist. A third man appeared behind them, calm and cruel. He carried a small injector. He jabbed it into Ethan's neck. Ethan's body went heavy at once. His legs lost strength. His hands opened. He fell to his knees, fighting. But the world blurred. Lyra screamed. A sharp sound full of fear and anger. She tried to shield Nia, but the bounty men grabbed Lyra's arms and yanked her away. Nia shouted, "Mom!" Her voice broke the silence like glass. Ethan tried to stand. His muscles would not obey. The corridor spun. The leader leaned down close to Ethan's ear and spoke softly. "Like a promise, good human," he said. "You did the hard part for war. U.S." Then he nodded to his men. "Take the mother," he ordered, "and bring the child." Lyra was dragged out into the corridor, fighting like a wounded animal. Nia reached for her, crying now, and the cloth slipped from the tube. Metal tube flashed bright. A sharp symbol lit the room for half a second, and the bounty leader's smile disappeared. "Cover it," he snapped, suddenly afraid. Ethan's vision dimmed, but he saw one last thing before the darkness took him. A small mark on the leader's armor. Not the colony seal, not town security, a private corporate crest. And as Ethan's eyes closed, he heard Lyra's voice, raw and desperate. "Ethan, please. Don't let them take her." Ethan woke up to cold metal under his cheek. His head felt heavy, like someone filled it with sand. The air smelled like clean chemicals and old dust. A weak light buzzed above him. Somewhere nearby, a machine clicked. In steady beats, he tried to move his arms. A sharp pain snapped through his shoulder. Plastic cuffs held his wrists behind his back. He tested them again, slow. The cuffs did not break. Ethan forced his eyes open. He was in a small room with bare walls, no windows, just a single door with a scanner plate. A camera above it, watching him like a dead eye. His memory came back in pieces. The injector, the fall, Lyra's scream, Nia reaching out, and that bright symbol flashing from the tube. Ethan's stomach turned. He pushed himself up, breathing hard. He needed time, he needed a plan, and he needed to know one thing. Where did they take them? A voice came through a speaker on the wall, calm and smooth. "You're awake, Mr. Cole." Ethan looked up. "Where are they?" he said, voice rough. The voice chuckled. "That depends on you," it said. "You involved yourself in something you don't understand. Ethan leaned closer to the camera. I understand enough, he said. You're not law, you're a business. The speaker stayed quiet for a second. Then the voice returned, colder. Smart, it said. That's why you're still breathing. Footsteps came outside. The door beeped and opened.